hate that we have to even discuss this, but one day, and one day maybe soon, I have worked it out, Need for Speed 2015 will no longer be playable. This is very similar to The Crew that just shut down. If you try and load into the game, it connects to the Ubisoft servers, but as soon as you try and pull your save, this is what you are greeted with. Need for Speed 2015, just like The Crew, are both always online games, and unfortunately, they existed for a while. I feel like it's kind of gone the other way again now. In fact, Need for Speed Unbound, Need for Speed Heat, and Need for Speed Payback, all the games that came after, are all playable offline. So those games we know we'll forever have. 2015 to a lot of people is their favorite modern Need for Speed. It was the reboot, the re-excitement, the reigniting of classic Need for Speed. Story, progression, customization, and the Toyota Supra. And I hate to admit it, every time I jump back to this game, one of the most beautiful looking games that's possibly ever existed. Now, I'm gonna say with a caveat, because I still really think that modern Need for Speed games, for example, Heat or even Need for Speed Unbound, look better overall. But there's just something about this game that I can't put my finger on. Aesthetics wise, it's just unmatched. You can't compare them. As much as there's pissing film grain everywhere, it's kind of annoying. This is by far one of the best looking games to ever have existed. So let's run you through the details, shall we? 2014 is when The Crew came out. 2024 is when the server shut down. It wasn't even able to complete 10 years. But here's the good news. Need for Speed doesn't tend to do the same thing. We're actually going to see this game last quite a bit longer, and that's just based on previous games. Nowadays, games are played for even longer and longer. Games are more accessible. You can pick them up relatively easily. Sales are always boosting the sales. Players, yeah. But even in the worst possible case, Need for Speed Undercover. Undercover lasted, are you ready? 12 years, 6 months, and 13 days. Now, no one is arguing that 2015 or The Crew or any of these games ultimately are perfect, flawless, the best games we've ever seen. That's what the hell is going on? All the AI all over the damn place. No one is arguing that. No one is questioning that. 2015 had some interesting acting, and well, the handling was clearly not perfect. However, you still bought the game. You should still expect to play the game forever. You paid money for it, and you won't be able to. Now, this is saying some more good news, that Need for Speed is actually a much more popular series by name, and especially at this time, oh my god, than The Crew. I mean, The Crew now may actually be more popular than Need for Speed, but let's not get into that. 2015 was loved by more people, and there is a huge possibility that an offline mode could be made or emulated servers. This has happened before with a previous Need for Speed game, different engine, different team, whatever. But ultimately, it happened, and it may happen again. Not to say that The Crew might not actually get that experience, but it would be devastating to lose this game. Flaws or not. This was Ghost's first attempt at rebooting the series, bringing us back to street racing with police chases, and the fact that Toyota's in the game is insane because they're now completely just obliterated. They're not in the game. They're like, no. There's something in the new games. They're like, absolutely not. But they're in this game. They probably just changed person, and the person was like, no, actually, I'm an old man and no street racing. The vibes, immaculate in this game. And really, this Supra is actually driving much better than I think. I've probably tuned it so that it doesn't just slide absolutely everywhere. But therefore the problem is it now doesn't turn. It's a slight issue. Now, to give you the actual date that I've calculated, it's gonna sound scary, but you do need to listen. Tuesday, the 16th of May, 2028. But hold on, that is roughly 4 years from now, so that's the first bit of good news. The reason this thing happens is because of, well, always online, but ultimately because of car licensing and music licensing. These things cost money, and you keep having to renew the licenses forever. It's only really an issue when you've got always online that packages the game, because if you just delist the game, well, you end up with Drive Club, which you can still play to this day. It's a little bit of things missing. Hell, Gran Turismo 7 we know is going to get an offline update because GT Sport did too. But unless an offline mode is already planned for a game from Go, it's not gonna happen long term. And the Japanese have a kind of way of doing things, you know. But as long as the game continues to receive players and receive sales and keep popularity, they can use that money to renew the licenses. It won't be enough money to make an offline patch for a game, likely, but we have the ability to completely jump into this game with Frosty Editor. And I'm sure there will be further ways for us to do so in the future. So there is a hope that because of how crazy the modding can actually be in this game and the changes, there may be a way to save it in terms of the community, an offline patch, or again just hosting the servers ourselves. You know, maybe EA will leak the code for you. Or maybe in my recent studio visit, I plugged in the USB and stole all their data. Okay, I didn't do that. Please do invite me again. Man, I missed this game so much, and I'm gonna miss it even more when I can't damn play it. But this genuinely brought Need for Speed back, and it was quite funny because it was almost the players versus EA. I was trying to tell them constantly what we want, and for the first time ever they went, let's, you know what, let's actually try and listen to that. Let's do that properly and see what happens. Oh, instant success. Who would have thought that listening to your players was sometimes, I'm gonna be honest, I don't want to toot my own horn, sometimes is a good idea. I wouldn't say all the time. The good news is the era of everything must be always online forever is kind of dying, but also in a little bit of a way not. If you think about a lot of the content that's accessible on these games, unless you actually earn this content now, FOMO, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble. Also, this game actually didn't have the health system, which kind of made the police, I mean, okay, I don't want to say it made the police kind of rubbish, but they were rubbish anyway. They really were just possibly the worst in the series, which is kind of interesting because people that jumped into the code do some changes, you could easily make them a lot better, but unfortunately the actual base cops are really just crud. Just put your foot down in there, in the bin, mate. Oh yeah, and the crash cams. I guess now is a better time than any to really ask you guys. Of course, you guys, the graphics are amazing, Theo. Why don't they make a game look this good? Yeah, kind of always curious about that. I don't know how they made it look so just aesthetic. I mean, there are some trickery things going on here. For example, a lot of the background and stuff could be hidden. Because it's dark, you can't actually see the color and detail of a lot of these things in the background. So a lot of things in the background don't even exist. The city doesn't even exist. You never drive through the city, for example. It's not an actual object item that actually has any use. Of course, the map is also spread out to avoid having to, you know, bog down. See, I actually paused and looked at the map. I'm still losing the police. It allowed the old consoles to stream these areas in incredible detail like this. But I also think just the filters and the effect, everything works really well. Wet roads all the time. Now people complain about it, but let's be honest, does it work? Hell yes, it works. Unlike these police, because they're absolutely rubbish. And something else we obviously need to mention is the Ken Block involvement in this game. If you've played this game before, you will 100% know that I'm just gonna ignore the crash. It's fine. That's completely fine. Ken Block was one of the main characters in the game. I actually met Ken Block thanks to this game, which is insane. And I actually made a whole video about it. You probably saw on the Ken Block video. If you didn't see the Ken Block video, you need to go see the Ken Block video. But it would be awful because we lost Ken Block. He's in this game. You can play basically with Ken Block. I don't know. It would be kind of wrong, so evil to have him in this game and it just not be accessible offline at all. I don't see us getting an actual official offline patch. But there is a chance for an unofficial one. I am gonna bin this off. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be making one. They absolutely should be making one, but I don't know, something about this game, man. Every time I explain this to someone, it's like, oh, the handling's a little bit funky in this game, a little bit weird. Then I jump back in and I'm like, maybe I haven't completely forgot how to drive this handling. Maybe it's not that far off of what we've got now. It definitely had a few quirks, but they definitely improved over time. With Unbound's the best Need for Speed handling in terms of like new games. There's just no question. Do you not? Oh my god! It's painful though that games even have to be doing this. It could have been. It could have been wood. It could have been Heat. As much as I do love this game, Heat is genuinely the best modern Need for Speed game ever. But I think it's damaging as a whole to the series to lose this game because vibes immaculate. There's no other way for me to say it. But as I said, bit of mix of bad news, but also possibly not the worst news, because there very much is a chance, and a higher chance, that we'll save this game. And also, by the way, the people are working on a fix for the offline patch for the crew or server emulation. It's already being worked on, so that's good news. And I don't know if you've realized, I've noticed this throughout the whole time of me playing, the servers have already had clearly reduced capacity, reduced like effort. Like, it's just something. If you watch, if I press jump to garage, why does it take this long for it to register that I asked for it to jump to the garage? Because they reduced the power, the efficiency of these servers. Because, I mean, there's like 4 other games for them to, you know, uphold. And eventually, one's going to have to go. Unless they just keep it. They might just keep it up forever. That would be nice. Like, another thing. If I change to a car, watch this, you're going to see. Oh, wait, what the heck? Ah, there you go. And this type of stuff has plagued the game for a while. So, clearly, they're just kind of turning down how much availability there is. And as long as the damn thing works, we're kind of golden. But eventually, we might have some problems. We're definitely going to have problems eventually, which is unfortunate. Anyway, would you be really upset to see 2015 go? 2028 is my worst case prediction. I don't think it's going to be any earlier than that. It just doesn't make sense. And I think it will probably last longer. But how much longer? Maybe you can make, you know, a banger game like this again before they shut down, and then we'll be like, all right, cool, fine. No, I still don't think I would be like that. Check out the videos here if you like 2015. You obviously do.